question box up. Okay.
You can start anytime you would like. Here we go.
Start now. Hi, I'm Christina Volkmer. I work here at the Nebraska Medical Center in the Diabetes Center and Bariatric Services. The title of this presentation is Fitness Goals, Surefire Strategies to Make Them Stick. So we're about 3 weeks into the new year, and if you're anything like me, your motivation may be waning. It's cold outside. It's kind of hard to get motivated. Or maybe you're finding that exercise is easy, but the consistent part is really what the challenge is. So today we're going to talk about the importance of setting goals, 3 goal setting strategies, and how to set yourself up for success and avoid some common pitfalls that you may find yourself getting into this time of year. So I want you to picture yourself being invited to a party, backing out of the driveway, realizing that you had forgot to ask where the party is, directions on how to get there, your boss is calling, and another thing, you're out of gas. So if you think about it, if you forget to do these things, there's no charting of the course, there's no understanding of the time commitments, and to make sure your vehicle is prepared, you're probably not going to have a good time. Sounds kind of silly, but becoming fit is very similar to this analogy. Good health is the overall goal, and exercise is the tool, the vehicle to get you there. So the first goal setting strategy I would like to share with you is the SMART goal setting strategy acronym. Some of you may be familiar with this. They use it a lot in human resources, financial planning, and some smoking cessation programs. So the S is going to stand for specific. A lot of times people will tell me, no, my New Year's resolution is to get fit or become healthier, lose weight, which is great, but we need to make it more specific. So maybe your goal is to climb the stairs without getting winded, or being able to walk 1 mile. It's very specific. You will know if you got there or not. The second, the M, stands for measurable. So maybe it's a number on the scale that you're wanting to get to. Maybe it's a certain body fat percentage. Maybe you want to bring your cholesterol down to 200. Maybe it's something subjective, like how your pants are fitting, or how you're feeling, or if other people are commenting on your successes. The A stands for achievable or attainable. So let's not kid yourself if you are not a morning person and you vow to get up every morning at 5 a.m. to work out. Probably not going to happen if you know that about yourself. Also, maybe finding out if you're more of a social person, maybe you would prefer a group exercise class over treadmill time by yourself, and vice versa. The R is going to stand for realistic or relevant. Does it meet your needs? Is it something that you're interested in? What about your physical limitations or your abilities? I met a gentleman the other day that came to me and said, you know, I really want to become a downhill skier. I said, you know, that's great, but we do live in Nebraska and we have access to Mount Crescent, which is good, but maybe just a few months out of the whole entire year. So not a very relevant, realistic goal for him. And the last one is time. Put a specific time label on your goal. So maybe get out your calendar, get out your Outlook, and find a long-term goal and a short-term goal. Mark it on the calendar so that way you don't keep the same New Year's resolutions every year and you have it logged. So the second method is the snowball method, which is fitting for this time of year. But the benefit of this method is that the studies tell us if you have one goal, one task in front of you, you're 85% likely to do it. If it's wrote down in front of you and it's something you can check off. If you have two tasks at hand, you're only 35% likely to reach that goal. And if you have three or more in front of you, we're almost down to nothing. And I did a lot of research with New Year's resolution statistics, how many people keep them and how many people fail. And the odds are really stacked against us unless we have something that we can check off. So this is more of a process goal instead of an outcomes-based goal like the SMART goal. So the snowball method, simply coming up with 5 different health behaviors that you would like to address or that you would like to change, writing them down on a piece of paper from the easiest to the hardest. So you have them in front of you, you have addressed them from the easiest to the hardest. So an example would be, maybe you sleep late. So the first goal, the first task, would be to get up 30 minutes earlier. Your second goal may be to get to the gym 1 day a week. Your third goal, maybe we'll get to the gym 3 or 4 days that week. Your fourth goal, maybe I'll be sure to eat breakfast as soon as I get up in the morning. And maybe your fifth goal is I'm going to control my portion sizes. So over the course of 10 weeks or so, you have not succeeded in just one area, you got a whole myriad of events. So you're getting up earlier, you're not missing a workout, you have done an extra 10 workouts, eaten breakfast every day, consuming less calories overall. So the idea is that these small achievements would snowball into something bigger with more long-term success. Whereas trying to do all these things at once at one given time would probably result in short-term failure. And the last goal-setting strategy I want to share with you is 12 months of health observance. Sometimes January 1st rolls around and we look at the whole year, the big picture, and sometimes that can just be overwhelming. So if we break it up into 30 days and focus something different each month, we're going to be more apt to succeed. So for example, coming up February is Healthy Heart Month. And if you go to healthfinder.gov, it's a whole list of exercises you can do to help strengthen your heart. And posted on that website is a recent study from the Centers of Disease Control that highlight the benefits of high-intensity interval training. So this is good for people that are short on time, maybe only have 15 or 20 minutes a day to exercise. So this really gets down to the nitty-gritty on 3 minutes of intense all-out sprints and then 3 minutes more of walking, 3 minutes uphill. So that really is the forefront of research on how to strengthen your heart muscle. March is Cancer Awareness Month and National Nutrition Month. So that might be a good month, good 30 days to focus on carbohydrates that fuel your workouts, or maybe some protein sources on how to recover your muscles from after a bout of strength training. So those are the 3 goal-setting strategies that I'm particularly fond of. Now I would like to share some tips on how to succeed and maybe identify some of the barriers when it comes to goal-setting strategies. So the first tip that I would like to share with you is to identify your barriers. What prevents you, if you look back on the calendar, what has prevented you from achieving your goals in the past? A lot of times, from an exercise physiologist standpoint, time, money, and lack of motivation or laziness are the 3 main sources of why we don't keep our goals. So time constraints, we know from the Surgeon General that they recommend about 150 minutes of exercise a week. You're going to get the biggest return on investment if we can do something for about 30 minutes most days of the week to strengthen our heart and our muscles. So we can break that up into 10-minute sessions and still have the same benefit as one 30-minute session. So if you're short on time, think maybe could I dedicate 10 minutes 3 times a day to exercise? Can I get up 10 minutes earlier, do some stretching? If you have 30 minutes at lunch, can you dedicate 15 minutes of that to walking the halls? And after work, can you do some strength training or use some Dynabands or use your own body weight to do something to tax your muscles? The second barrier is the lack of motivation. And I think with the goal setting technique, if you keep your eyes on the prize, so to say, and reward yourself when you do reach that goal, you're going to keep yourself more motivated and want to continue with your action plan. And the third barrier usually is money. And I don't want people to think that they have to join a gym or get a trainer in order to get fit. There's a lot of things you can do at home, and there's a lot of things that don't cost a whole lot of money. Walking is a very popular mode of exercise that costs nearly nothing, and most everybody can do it. Sometimes, though, you can turn money into a motivator. So, for instance, if I spend X amount of dollars a month on a personal trainer, I'm going to be more accountable, and I'm also going to put a little bit more value to that than if I had a free gym membership. So you can turn those negatives into a positive. Another barrier is the weather, especially today. It's about 5 degrees outside. Tomorrow's supposed to be 50, though. There's always a reason. It's either too hot, too cold, too windy, too rainy, that people tell me that it's just not conducive for exercise. So having that plan B, if it's not very nice outside, is there something I can do instead inside? I also am a true believer that you have to find something that you enjoy, or else you won't do it. So if you think back to your childhood, what is it that you really enjoyed? Were you outdoors? Were you a Boy Scout, a Girl Scout? Were you out doing things with other people, exploring? Were you more of a video game person? Perhaps like a Kinect or a Wii would be something you would be interested in now for exercise. And the last thing I want to share with you is your action plan. So you have a goal, and without a goal, without an action plan, a goal is just kind of a wish. You just kind of hope it happens. So your action plan is what's going to get you there. So get yourself a little personal calendar and mark the days that you're going to exercise or that you have exercise. So if your goal is to do 10 push-ups, what is going to get you there by March 1st? So if you dedicate 3 days a week to strength training, mark on the calendar the days that you did it. You could look back and see, I did my goal because I was able, this action plan worked for me. If not, maybe you can look back and see what barriers, why didn't it work? Was it time, money, lack of motivation? And then also to keep yourself accountable, I would highly recommend that you write everything down. So if you don't write it down, it's more subjective. So, maybe you did 20 minutes on the treadmill, maybe you did 30. If you don't write it down, it's kind of emotional, it's very subjective. Putting it on a piece of paper kind of takes the emotion out of it. Making sure you use some kind of tracking device, maybe a pedometer. I'm wearing a Fitbit today. This is something that is going to keep track of my steps. It also tells me how many calories I burned, how well I slept last night. Anything you want to track, there's an app or there's a technology to help you achieve that. So it helps keep you accountable and it takes all the guesswork out of it. So today we covered the importance, why goal setting is important. How are you going to know if you got there if you don't know where you're going? 3 goal setting strategies, how to overcome barriers and how to pave the road to success, and tips on how to get you there. So, thank you.